Hello everyone, today I'll be teaching you grammar. Plus, before we start the lesson, could you take out your book for me? It should be right in present tense revision, I ate. Alright? Okay, take out your book and put it on the table. So, before we start the lesson, I would like to do some revisions with you. Okay, so basically when we use past tense, when do we use past tense? We use past tense when an action happens in the past, right? In the past. It's mostly with last, right? Ago, or yesterday, right? Remember that? So this kind of words in sentence tells us an action happens in the past. Just like last week, last month, last Monday, last Friday, right? And for ago, it can be 2 days ago, right? It can be 2 years ago. It can be 3 hours ago, right? And yesterday, you know the meaning of yesterday, right? So today is Monday, right? Yesterday will be Sunday, okay? So this is the words in a sentence that tells us an action happens in the past. This is the meaning of past tense, all right? So how do we form past tense? So whenever we see a sentence, there's an action, right? There's an action. Action is called verb, right? It's called verb. Basically, we add, what do we add to the verb when it is like past tense? We add ed, right? Ied and d, right? I hope you know how to do. Let's look at some of the exercises here. And let's see how do we form the verb in past tense. Okay, let's read this. I what with you yesterday. Yesterday tells you that we have to use past tense, right? So they gave you the action verb is talk. What do we add here? Do we add IED? We add D or ED? Just look at the last 2 letters, then you will know. We add, you got it, that should be ED. So how do we spell talk in past tense? 3, 2, 1. TALKED. Yes, so this sentence tells us this action happened in the past. I talked with you yesterday, right? Okay, let's look at example number 2. She what? Oh, let's read together. She what me 4 times 2 hours ago. Do you know the meaning of hours? All right. So right now, just think it is 4 o'clock, right? 2 hours ago will be 2 o'clock. Okay? That's it. She what me 4 times 2 hours ago. The action verb they gave you is phone. Phone. Let's look at the last 2 letters. Anything special? What is so special? Yes, it ends with the letter E, right? What do we have to do? If an action verb ends with the letter E, do we add ED? Do we add IED or just D? You got it. That should be D. So she phoned me 4 hours ago. 4 hours. 4 times? She phoned me 4 times 2 hours ago. So how do we spell phoned? PHONE and then add D. She phoned me 4 times 2 hours ago. Okay? 2 hours ago tells you that this action happens in the past. Okay. Number 3. He bought this ice cream last week. And they gave you the action verb try. Which word here tells you that this action happens in the past? Ice cream? No. That should be last week, right? Last week tells you this action happened in the past. He bought this ice cream last week. Try. Let's look at the last 2 letters. R, Y. What do we have to do when an action verb ends with Y? We have to 3, 2, 1. Remember, we have to cross out the Y and add I, E, D. So this sentence will be he tried this ice cream last week. How do we spell try in the past? 3, 2, 1. Let's see if you guess it. T, R, I, E, D. Correct? He tried this ice cream last week. Good job. Okay. Last lesson, we learned how to form a negative sentence in the past, right? Remember? So basically, we add did, not, and infinitive, right? To form a sentence in the past. What is an infinitive? What is an infinitive? Infinitive is verb with no changes. So what is a verb? A verb does action, right? The verb does action. So for example, is this an infinitive? Is this an infinitive? So Miss Sophie told you that an infinitive is a verb with no changes, right? A verb with no changes. This is a verb. What verb is it? This is played. Okay, played is an action, right? Is a verb. But I don't want to make any change to the original form of the verb. So what I have to do to make this verb infinitive, I have to cross out this. That it becomes infinitive, right? Let's do one more example. Okay, this one. So the verb brushing. The verb brushing. Is this an infinitive, everyone? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It is not infinitive because it has ing, right? What is the infinitive of brushing? What is the infinitive form? That should be just brush. Okay? Let's learn how do we form that. Let's look at this sentence. Okay, the first one. Let's read. She watered the plants this morning. All right. Is this action happened in the past? Yes, right? Because water tells you. But I want to make it a negative sentence. I want to add the negative verb not in the sentence. How do I form it? Do I say she not watered the plants this morning? No. We have to add did not and the infinitive, right? To form this sentence into negative form. So how do we change it? The answer should be she watered. The negative form should be did not. Infinitive. How do we change watered to infinitive? We cross out the E and D. Correct? So, to make it negative, we have to change the verb. Add did not, okay? Subject, did not. Subject, he, she, it, I, you, we, they, okay? Did not water. The infinitive, verb with no changes. Remember, verb with no changes. She did not water. We cross out the ed and it, did not water the plants this morning. The plants this morning. Okay, this is how we form a negative sentence. Subject, did not, infinitive. This is called infinitive. Okay? Verb with no changes, remember. As always, the plants this morning. Okay? Let's do the next one. The boys, let's read together. The boys climbed up the tree. The boys climbed up the tree. Which one is the subject here? Which one is the subject here? 1, 2, 3. That should be the boys, right? So you write the subject first. The boys. Okay, which one is the verb? Which one is an action? The tree? The boys? Climbed up? Climbed up is the action, right? Climbed is the action verb, right? So how do we make it a negative sentence? How do I add not here? 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We add, as always, we add did not. Yes? Did not. And the verb with what? With infinitive, right? How do we make climbed infinitive? We have to cross out the C or ed. We cross out the ed, right? To make it infinitive. Climbed becomes climb, right? The boys did not, infinitive, climb up the tree, as always. Correct? Number 3. Let's read. Betty washed her hair last night. How do we make it a negative sentence? Which one is the subject here? Is washed the subject? No. That should be Betty, right? Betty. Okay. Betty. How do we form a negative sentence? Subject with, again, what's not? Did not. Okay, did not. Did not, right? Subject, did not. Which one is the action verb here? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Which one is the action verb here? That should be her hair. Her hair is an action? No, right? That should be washed, right? Washed. How do we make washed an infinitive? That should be wash, right? Cross out the ed to make it an infinitive. Did not, infinitive. Remember that, okay? This is a negative sentence. Betty did not wash her hair last night. Okay, the last one. The students arrived very late. The students arrived very late. So which one is the subject here? Which one is the subject here? Very late. Arrived. The students. Which one is the subject? A subject does action, right? Who did this action? The students, right? The students. So we write subject first, as always. The students. The students. Which one is the action? Tell me the action first. Arrive, right? Arrive is the action. Ooh. How do you make it a negative sentence? Subject and then, as always, we add did not. Did not. Did not. And the original form of the verb. Verb with no changes. Infinitive. Arrive. Arrive. The original form of arrived is, as you can see, it ends with E, right? Arrived ends with E. So we just cross out the D. Did not arrive. Okay? Very late, as always. So remember that whenever we have to say a negative sentence in the past, we add did not and infinitive. Alright? Understand? Good job. We are done with the revision. Now, please open to your book, page number 18 and 19. Okay? 18 and 19. Today, we will be learning adverbs. Alright? 18 and 19 looks like this. Alright? It looks like this. Last one, what is an adverb? Alright? Before I introduce, I would show you a video. Alright? So we can look at the TV. Eyes on the TV.
Parts of speech. Parts of speech for kids. What is an adverb? By Teaching Without Frills. Parts of speech are different types of words we use when we speak and write. There are 8 main parts of speech: nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and interjections. So, what's an adverb? An adverb is a word that describes a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Adverbs often help answer the questions how, when, where, and to what extent. Let's look at some of the different types of adverbs and learn how we use them. Many adverbs describe verbs by telling how an action happens, like quickly running, peacefully sleeping, or talking loudly.
So one of the function in adverb is it tells us how an action happened, right? Let's look at this. Quickly. She runs quickly. This sentence tells us that how she runs, right? She runs quickly. Quickly. Alright, here is the boy sleeping, right? He sleeps peacefully. Peacefully. So this sentence tells us how he sleeps. He sleeps peacefully. Here. Loudly. She talks loudly. This sentence tells us how she talks. She talks loudly. Okay? These are called adverbs. What is so special about these adverbs? Do you want to know? Keep watching.
Do you notice something about these three adverbs? Oh yeah, they all end in ly. Quick, peaceful, and loud are all adjectives that can describe nouns. But when we want to describe a verb, we often add an ly on the end to create an adverb. Can you think of some other adverbs that end in ly?
So the special thing about an adverb here is it ends with ly. Is there any adverbs you can think of? Okay. This is quickly, right? The adjective is quick. What is the opposite of quick? Quick means very, very, very fast, right? What is the opposite of quick? That should be slow, right? If we want to make an adjective to an adverb, we add ly. Slowly, right?
Adverbs can also describe when or how often something happens. These are words like now, then, tomorrow, always, never, and sometimes.
So the second thing about an adverb is it can tell us when an action happened, right? These are also adverbs because it tells you when an action happened. I am going to school now. The word now is an adverb because it tells you when it happens, right? When I go to school. Tomorrow, never, sometimes, always are also adverbs, okay? Because it tells you when an action happened.
We can use these words to describe verbs or adjectives, like walking now or always happy. Can you think of any other adverbs that describe when or how often something happens? Adverbs can also answer the question where. Words such as inside, outside, here, there, up, and down can be used as adverbs to tell where something happens, like look up or come here.
Okay, the third function about an adverb is it can tell us where an action happened, right? Look up. There is a mouse. Come here. Come here. Let's have lunch. So here are the adverbs tells you where the action happens. Okay?
Can you think of any other adverbs that can describe where something happens?
We will do the examples.
Finally, we can use adverbs to answer.
Okay, that's it. Now, let's look at your book, page number 18. We will be doing some of the exercises to figure out what is an adverb. So the first thing you can see in your book, page 18, is an adverb is basically describe an action verb. Okay? They explain how, when, and where. Okay? Remember, HWW. How, when, and where an action happened. So let's look at the first one in page 18. An adverb can describe how an action happened. Let's look at the examples. Jason quickly reads his book. This is in your book, right? Jason quickly reads his book. How this action happens. Let's look at this sentence. Which one is an action? Which verb tells you that it is an action? Where's the action verb? Jason? No. Jason is a person. Which one is an action? 1, 2, 3. This is an action, right? This is an action. Which word here is describing how this action happens? That should be, it's in front of you, quickly. It tells us how he reads his book, right? How he reads his book. The answer is quickly. So quickly is the adverb. Okay? Number 2. My mom speaks loudly to my brother. Which one is an action here? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. That should be speaks. It does the action, right? And how this action happens. How this action happens. That should be loudly. It tells you how, right? It tells you how this action happens. So loudly is adverb. Okay? You will see a box in your book, right? You have to write down a few more examples of adverbs. Let's find out. So, what is the opposite of quick? Remember, this adverb is formed with an adjective, right? Adjective at ly. So what is the opposite of quick? Quick means very, very fast, right? So what is the opposite of quick? You got it. That should be slow, right? So the first example you find is slow. Adverb, we add ly. Slowly, right? Slowly. You can write that in the box, please, with your pencil. All right. What is the opposite of loudly? Do you know what is loud? It means you are making lots of noise, right? Very loud. Ah! Very loud. What is the opposite of loudly? So loud is the volume. When the volume is, the voice is very, very loud, right? So the opposite will be quiet, right? Quiet. Quiet. Quiet is an adjective. To make it adverb, we have to add ly. Quietly. What is another word for loudly? When somebody is making lots of noise, you will say he speaks or he shouts noisily. Noisy is also an adjective. So noisily is spelled like this, noisily. For the next lesson, I'll tell you how to form the adjective to adverbs, okay? Noisily. Noises ends with Y, right? That's why we change it to ILY. I'll explain it to you later. Okay. Is there any other adjective you can think of? When somebody's very happy, happy is an adjective. She celebrates her birthday happily. Happily can also be one of the adverbs. Happily. Happily. All right? Happily. One more. What is the opposite of noisily? When somebody's making lots of noise, right? You will ask him to please talk softly. Soft. Right? Softly. Alright, these are also one of the adverbs. We are done with this. Now look at number 2. Adverb can also tell you when an action happens, right? That should be at your book, page number 19. Page 19, okay? When an action happens. Let's look at the example. We went to the supermarket yesterday. We went to the supermarket yesterday. When this action happened. That should be yesterday, right? It tells you when this action happened, right? So this is one of the adverb, okay? When. Which one is the action here? Do you know? We went to the supermarket yesterday. Subject we did the action, right? Did the action. So went is the action. Went is the past tense of go. All right, it's the past tense of go. So that is an action. Okay. Let's look at the next one. I always wash my hands. I always wash my hands. So the word always tells you when this action happens, right? When this action happens. Which one is the action here? The action. I always wash my hands. The action is wash. Action. All right. Let's think of a few more examples of adverbs that tells us when an action happens. Yesterday, always. Which word in a sentence tells you that when this action happens? Just like yesterday and always. What is the opposite of yesterday? That should be today. Simple as that. Today. What is opposite of always? I always wash my hand. The opposite of always is never. Right? What else? What is the day after today? If today is past, then it will be tomorrow. Tomorrow is also an adverb because it tells you the time when this action happened. Tomorrow, right? What else? What are you doing now? I am doing my homework now. Doing is the action. Which one is the adverb? I am doing my homework now. Now is the adverb because it tells you when I'm doing my homework. Right? Now. Here we go. Smart. What else? Any other adverb you can think of? That can be, is last week. Okay, I went to Ocean Park last week. I went to Ocean Park last week. Went is the action. Remember I told you went is the past tense of go, right? Last week. Is last week an adverb? Yes, last week is also an adverb because it tells you when the action happened. Last week. Remember to write it down in your book. Let's look at the third one. Where this action happens. An adverb can also tell us where the action happens. Let's look at the example in your book. He puts the rubbish here. He puts the rubbish here. Which one is the action here? The action should be put is the action, right? It is the action. I write A as action, okay? Action. It's mean verb. And which one is the adverb here? Which word here that tells you where this action happens? He puts the rubbish here. So this is an adverb because it tells you where this action happens. Right, everyone? Smart boys, smart girls. Okay. The dogs walk there. The dogs walk there. So the dogs is the subject. You know it. Which one is the action here? Which one is the action here? 3, 2, 1. That should be walk. Walk is the action, right? This is the action. Which adverb is describing this action? Where this action happens? The dogs walk there. Smart. This is the adverb because it tells us where this action happens, right? Good. So, is there any other word that tells us where this action happens? Let me give you one example. In. Any other? What is the opposite of in? I'm going in. What is the opposite? I'm going out. Out is also an adverb because it tells you I'm going out. Where this action happens, right? What else? I put this marker, watch the book, inside, right? Inside is also an adverb. Inside is also an adverb. What is the opposite of inside? In, out. Inside, outside. Simple. Outside. Anything else? We can use everywhere as well. The verb, adverb everywhere tells you where this action happens, right? People everywhere are wearing a mask. People everywhere. This tells you where people wearing a mask, right? People everywhere wearing a mask. Here we go. Okay, please write the answers. If you are done, then turn to page 20. At page 20 and 21, you will see a lot of sentence, right? Here you have to circle the adverbs. Remember what is an adverb? An adverb tells you how, HWW, right? How, when, and where an action happens, right? This is an adverb. All you have to do is circle the adverbs, okay? And underline the verbs. Remember what is a verb? A verb does action, okay? Underline the verbs. Let's look at the example in your book, page 20, okay? Number 1, let's read. I carefully glued the last piece onto the model. Let's find the action verb first, okay? Which one is the action here? The word glue is the action, right? Glue. I carefully glued the last piece onto the model. Which one is the adverb? The example is here, carefully, right? Carefully tells us where this action happens, when this action happened, or how this action happens. How, right? Carefully tells you how this action happened. How, right? How. That's why this is an adverb. Okay? Circle the adverb and underline the action verb. Okay? Let's move on. Number 1. Let's read together. Francis played on the beach yesterday. Francis played on the beach yesterday. Which one is the action here? 3, 2, 1. The action is played. So you underline played. Underline it. Okay? Francis played on the beach yesterday. Which one is the adverb? Is there any word here that tells you how, when, or where this action happens? 3, 2, 1. That should be yesterday, right? Because it tells you when an action happens, right? When an action happens. So that's why this is an adverb. So you circle that, okay? Number 2. Read. I visited my friends last week. I visited my friends. Sorry, that should be my friend. My mistake. I visited my friend last week. Which one is the action here? I is the subject. What action? I did. That is my friends. That should be visited. So you underline the action verb. Visited. Alright? Visited. Is there any words here tells you when, where, or how this action happens? Last week. Last week tells us when this action happened. So you circle this adverb. Okay? Number 3. George, can you come here? Let's find. So this is a question, right? Which one is the subject? George, right? George is the subject. You is also a subject. The person is asking George, right? George, can you? So George is in front of me. George, can you come here? Which one is the action here then? Can you come. Come is the action, okay? So the action verb here is come. You underline the action verb. Okay, underline it. Which word here tells you when, where, or how this action happens? George, can you come here? Here, right? So here is the adverb because it tells you where this action happens. Can you come here? Here. Okay? Here. Number 4. They swim lazily in the pool. The subject is they. Which one is the action here? The action is swim is the action. Good job. You got it. So you underline swim because it is the action. Which one is the adverb here? They lazily in the pool? Is there any word here tells you how, when, or where this action happens? That should be lazily because lazily is the adverb tells you how they swim. Okay? Lazily is the adverb. Number 5. Okay. Let's read. Neil slowly placed a vase on the table. Subject is Neil, right? Which one is the verb here? Is slowly a verb? Slowly is it an action? How Neil did this action? He placed, right? So placed is the action. You underline placed. Okay? And then which one is the adverb? Is there any special word here that tells you how or where this action happens? Slowly. Neil slowly placed a vase on the table. Slowly tells you how he placed the vase. Okay? This adverb describes this action. Okay? It describes this action. Good enough? Number 6. They cheerfully sing songs. Cheerfully. Cheerfully means happily. So the subject is they. Right? Which one is the action? Which one is the action? That should be songs. No. That should be sing. So you underline sing. Any words here again? Tells you how this action happens? Cheerfully. Right? Cheerfully. Cheerfully. So I've done 6 of them with you, right? Can you do 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 for me? Okay? Can you do from 7 to 11 for me? I'll give you 1 minute to do it, okay? I'll give you 1 minute to do it. So your 1 minute starts now. 7 to 11, okay? All right, your time is up. Let's look at from question 7 to 11. Okay, let's do it. Number 7. Let's read. Nathan stamped his feet angrily. Nathan stamped his feet angrily. Which one is the action here? Do you know what's the meaning of stamp? The noise you make with your feet on the ground. It's like when you're angry. Alright? So stamp is the action. So you underline stamp. Is there any adverb tells you how, when, or where this action happens? Which adverb here describes stamp? That should be angrily. Check your answers, everyone. Angrily. Okay? Angrily. Number 8. My father snored loudly on the couch. My father is a subject. Snore. Do you know what is snored? Somebody makes some noises while they're sleeping, like, right? That is snore. Which one is the action here? Snored. Underline snored. Which adverb here describe this action snored? Loudly or on the couch? You got it. Loudly. Check your answers. Number 9. Sam accidentally slipped on the ice. Which one is the action? You know what is slipped? All of a sudden you fall down, right? That's called slipped. So the action here is slipped. Which adverb describes this action? Accidentally. Accidentally means all of a sudden. You didn't do it by yourself. It just happened. Okay? Accidentally. Okay? Circle this. Let's look at number 10. Number 10. Yesterday, they played a game. Yesterday, they played a game. Which one is the subject here? The subject here is they, right? The subject here is they. Which one is the action? The action is, you got it, that is played, right? Which adverb here describes this action? Yesterday, because it tells us when this action happens, the main thing. Yesterday. Number 11. Number 11. The truck crashed loudly. The truck crashed loudly. So the truck is the action. So sorry, the truck is the subject. I'm sorry. The truck is the subject. Which one is the action here? Crashed is the action. Which one is the adverb describe this action crashed? The truck or loudly? Very smart. That is loudly. Have you got it correct? Smart. Let's look at number 12. We sometimes go to the concert. Which one is the action here? The action is go. Smart. Which one is the adverb describe this action go? To the concert or sometimes? Sometimes, because it tells us when this action happens. Yeah? Number 13. The boy The boy waited patiently for the computer to load. The subject, you know, is the boy. Which one is the action? Which action? He did? Waited. Waited is the action. And how this action happens? How he waited. That is patiently. Patient. If a person is patient, it means he or she has lots of weight. She or he can wait a lot, and he or she doesn't get annoyed. Okay? Number 14. Callie finally arrived at the park. The subject is Kelly. Which one is the action? Finally arrived at the park. Which one is the action? Smart. Arrived. Right? Underline arrived. Which one is the adverb? How? How she arrived. Or when she arrived. Where she arrived. Finally is the adverb because it tells you when she arrived, okay? Finally. Number 15. My mother nicely reminded me to do my homework. My mother nicely reminded me to do my homework. Which one is the action? Nicely reminded. My homework. Reminded is the action. Remind you something. Okay, remind. This means making you remember something, okay? Which one is the adverb? How, where, or when she reminded. My mother nicely reminded me to do my homework. This is how she reminded me, right? Nicely. Okay. Number 16 to 19. Okay, 1 minute. I'll give you 1 minute to do from number 16 to 19. Okay? Your 1 minute starts now. Alright, your time is up. Let's look at number 16 to 19 now. Number 16. The kitten walked there. The kitten. Do you know what a kitten is? A baby cat, okay? The kitten walked there. So the kitten is the subject. Which one is the action? Which one is the verb? The action is walked, right? So you underline walked. Is there any adverb tells you how, when, or where this action happened? Which one is the adverb here? You are correct. There. It tells you where this action happened. The kitten walked there. Number 17. I usually lock the car door. Which one is the action? 3, 2, 1. Lock is the action. Lock. Okay? Which one is the adverb? When, where, how this action happens. This action happens usually. So usually is the adverb, right? Number 18. My dog always barks. My dog always barks. So you know my dog is the subject, right? Which one is the action? Always or barks? Barks is the action, of course. A dog barks like woof, 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 right? So this is the action. Which one is the adverb? How, when, where this action happens. Always. It tells you when this action happens, right? Always. It describes the action. Number 19. Peter neatly writes a shopping list. The subject is, you know, Peter, right? Which one is the action? Neatly writes or a shopping list? The subject is writes, right? So you underline this because this is an action, right? And then is there any adverb tells you about this action? Neatly or a shopping list? Neatly is the action. Neatly. Neatly means very clearly. Alright? Peter neatly writes a shopping list. Neatly tells you about this action. Neatly. Alright? Check your answers. Okay, so we are done with this lesson. Please go home and do revision about adverbs. And I'll see you again next week. Thank you for watching.